Hello, my lovely ladies, and welcome to Always Classy and Elegant. I am Brandy, your host, coach, and mentor, and I'm here to help you with your classy transformation. Ladies, I'm not going to delay today because there's a lot that I have to cover in a short amount of time, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. This video comes at the request of someone fairly close to me who found out that I was doing videos on YouTube on the topics of class and elegance and femininity and etiquette, and they asked that I cover some of these things. Also, with the last item that I plan to cover today, this is something that comes up amongst men. I promise you I hear about it at least twice a month at the very minimum. So with that, I'm not going to delay any further. Let us begin. The first thing would be talking too much. Ladies, we do not want to be that motor mouth person that is constantly just talking and going from one thing to the next, and no one can say anything and contribute to the conversation because they are literally dominating the conversation. My darlings, we do not want to be that person because not only is it off-putting, but it gives the message that you don't care about anyone that you're talking to, that you only care about yourself. It comes across as not only selfish, but it also comes across as attention-seeking behavior, and that is not classy. As classy, elegant ladies, we are not pick-me's. We are not attention, you know what I mean, that W word. We are not that person. So we give consideration to how much we are talking, and we are okay with the fact that sometimes in a conversation, even with the best of friends, there's silence. And that's okay. It's okay to just be quiet for a moment and take in the scenery and the atmosphere around you. So keep that in mind when you're conversing with someone, and let there be some silence. Let them have the chance to contribute to the conversation and say some things about themselves as well. Also, I mentioned this because just earlier this week in a forum that I'm part of, someone mentioned that their partner doesn't ask them questions about themselves, like their questions about their childhood or questions about what they think, and they said that they share a lot and they usually ask their partner these types of questions, but their partner doesn't reciprocate. And so I can tell you that from experience, it might be that sometimes we are sharing so much that we don't leave room for someone to wonder or to be able to come and ask you first. Maybe hold back, just withdraw a little bit. It's okay. You don't have to be like a cup that runneth over. You don't have to spill out and share everything about yourself with someone. Let them wonder and allow them the opportunity to come and ask you, because they may not be asking because you've told them, and they might feel like, I already know because you've told me everything. So just be mindful of that and allow some silence, allow people the opportunity to ask you questions, and try not to dominate conversations. The next thing I have is talking too loudly. Ladies, we do not want to be that person in a restaurant or some atmosphere where it's supposed to be quiet, worship maybe. We don't want to be that person that's talking too loudly in the auditorium or in the restaurant or in the office. It can be distracting. It is rude, but it also says that you don't have any manners and that you are not considerate. You don't care about anyone else around you. And as classy, elegant ladies, we are also mindful of etiquette. And etiquette is essentially showing respect for others. But in that show of respect for others, you show that you have respect for yourself. And that in turn begets you more respect. So be aware of your volume when you're talking. Again, don't be that person that's in the restaurant talking too loudly or so loudly that people 2 tables over can hear your conversation. They may not even want to hear about it. And also, we can enjoy time with our friends, but we don't want to be laughing so loudly or making other sounds or gestures so loudly that It's literally distracting to others. And a good way to kind of figure out if you're maybe talking too loudly is if you are in line someplace waiting to pay for some items, and maybe you're talking to an associate or a companion that's with you. If people are turning around and looking at you, that might be an indicator that you're talking just a bit too loudly. In other settings, if you are talking and people are turning around and looking at you, maybe even giving you that glare, you might be talking too loudly. So just be aware of that and work on adjusting your volume. Bring it down. It's okay to bring it down. We don't have to be loud all the time. It would be better for someone to ask you, can you speak up, please? I can't hear you. It would be better for them to do that than for them to, oh my God, that was so loud. You scared me. We don't want the louder, so that might have been a little extra, but as I get more comfortable, you guys are going to find out I can be a little extra sometimes. So on to the next thing, gossiping. Classy, elegant ladies do not engage in gossip. So going back to what I opened this video with about life and death being in the power of the tongue, gossiping can be very hurtful. It can even go as far as costing someone their life. So when we're gossiping, a lot of times we don't even know if that information is true. And even if it is true, sometimes when we're sharing that with other people, we may not be even thinking about at all the other people that might be hurt by the gossip other than the person that it's about. In most situations in life, the things that we do or say, or the things that are done or said to or about other people affect others than just them. So we need to be mindful of that, and it's always the best look to refrain from the messy and keep your name out of the mess. Because it's never a bad look when nobody can put your name in anything and say, well, Brandy said this or so-and-so said this, and you don't want your name mixed up in that. So the best thing to do is not engage in the gossip. And if you are in a setting or a group where people are gossiping, you can simply try to change the subject. And if that doesn't work, I do recommend that you remove yourself from that conversation. You can simply politely excuse yourself, go someplace else for a while, and then come back when the gossip has subsided. The next thing would be making rude comments. I think we've probably all been, I don't want to say victim to this, but we've probably all had something rude said to us. An example of that would be talking about somebody's weight, or making a comment rather about somebody's weight. I will admit, you guys know I usually have a story for you, so here's the story time, at least the first one for today. So way back when, I had a cousin, unfortunately she's no longer with us, but she was very thin and I hadn't seen her in a while. And then when I did see her, she looked like she gained a little weight, but she looked healthy, she looked good. I instead, just being unfiltered and unrefined to a good degree at that point, I asked her, hey, have you gained weight? And of course, as you can imagine, that didn't go over well. And I didn't mean it to be rude. I really just thought she looked healthy and good because she was very thin the last time I saw her. But what I should have done was I should have just said, hey, you look really good. You look really nice, and left it at that. You maybe have heard on the converse someone mentioning that someone has gained weight. Well, guess what, ladies? If a person has gained weight, I'm pretty sure they're aware. Like, we know how our clothes fit. We know how things look in the mirror when we take our clothes off. I don't think any of us want someone to tell us that we look like we've gained weight or to make any comments about our weight. We're probably already pretty, if not self-conscious, very mindful of it. The other reason that we want to refrain from such comments, and particularly around someone's weight or their appearance, is because we don't know if they are maybe going through something health-wise, and the gain or loss is maybe due to their medical condition or a medication that they're taking. If it's a health-related issue, they're already going through it, and how unkind is it to bring it up and mention it to them? So let's be mindful of how the things we say can affect someone else, even if we mean it well and it's seemingly innocent. It may not always go over that way. So as they say, don't talk about politics, money, or religion. Well, let's add weight to that. Okay, the next thing would be unsolicited commentary, I think, or advice. And what does that look like? I have another story for you. Well, this isn't really a story. I'm just going to use myself as an example. I have suffered with acne for like ever. I think at least 12 years old. I don't really remember having clearer skin prior or after 12. So I've really gone through it. Accutane twice in my life. I'll probably do another video on it. So when I am out and about and I have a breakout, or in times past when I had a breakout, maybe I'm at Ulta or Sephora and one of the salespeople comes to me and recommends some skincare. It's like, that is so distasteful, and it never, I try to handle it politely, but it never is going to make a person feel good for you to offer unsolicited advice or commentary. Another example of that can look like telling someone how they should parent their child. Now, granted, that can be such a sensitive thing, and we can all have our opinions. However, if it's not your child, if you are not their parent, your advice should be just that, yours and kept to yourself, unless and until you are asked for it. Another example of what that could look like would be maybe you're getting ready to eat something or fixing your coffee, and I don't know, maybe you like to use all the sugar or Splenda or whatever, and somebody comes and says, oh, you shouldn't drink that, you shouldn't use that stuff, you know, blah, blah, blah. You're like, just stop. I just want to enjoy my coffee. I know the health stuff. I don't need you to tell me. Just go on. So, ladies, let's avoid the unsolicited commentary. It is so off-putting, and 9 times out of 10, people are not going to take your advice that they didn't ask for, or that you didn't ask if you could give. You're just going to irritate them, and if anything, leave a bad taste in their mouth as far as goes you as a person. So then the next thing would be making disparaging remarks or sarcasm. I'll add sarcasm in on that. So what does this look like? Saying something to someone who didn't ask you, of course. Oh, that looks horrible on you. That's not a good color for you. That color makes you look sick. Something like that. It's like, who asked you? If somebody wants your opinion, more than likely they will ask, or you can ask if you can offer an opinion, and they can tell you yes or no. If they say no, respect that and keep your comments to yourself. I mean, ladies, it's never a good look to make nasty comments to someone. And I think this is an example of, just because you can say it doesn't mean that you should. Some things we can think, but we need to keep it to yourself. Let's see, disparaging comments, that could be something like, some people have said growing up that they were told, oh, you're never going to be anything. You're not going to amount to anything. What a horrible thing to say to someone, because none of us are in charge of anyone's potential and how far they can go. That's between them and God. But why would we want to devalue someone or say something that basically gives the connotation that a person has no value? We all have value. We all have something to offer. With some people, granted, we might not be able to see what that something is. God sees it. So with that, I'm going to leave that one alone and move along. Okay, the next thing I would recommend that we do not discuss is our future plans. I remember growing up, I used to hear the phrase, speak it into existence. I mean, that's still a thing and it still works, but they used to always also say that if you're serious about it and it's a goal, you write it down and then you tell other people about it, because telling other people about it helps to make it more real, and then people will want to help you and you'll achieve it. And maybe that was the case way back when. I'm not going to tell y'all how old I am. I've already aged myself a little bit in previous videos, but it's not like that today. Ladies, you better keep your business to yourself. Future plans, future goals, keep it to yourself, because the spirit of the devil, and I'm not trying to be on here like Bible thumping and trying to give you guys a sermon or anything like that today, but I see a lot of things, I hear a lot of things, and with a lot that I see and hear, it's like these people have got to have the spirit of the devil in them, because what would make you come and say something like some of them say or do the things that they do? Literally, there are people who will try to sabotage you. They will try to thwart your plans. They don't want to see you do well, so they will do anything they can to hold you back, bring you down, again, sabotage you. So, as my dad said, make your moves in silence. Don't tell anybody what you plan to do. If you tell anybody anything at all, tell them after you've done it. But even then, you might want to consider whether or not you want to talk about your plans. Intimate or sensitive details about ourselves or others. Yeah, ladies, it's not classy for us to talk about those things. I know that in some settings and with some friends, we might be comfortable, but that doesn't mean that we should share certain things. Now, what might this look like? An example I can give you is at a place that I worked a long time ago, the company had a happy hour for some kind of project that delivered, launched, or whatever, and a lot of people were invited from different groups in the organization that were involved in this project. And somebody, I don't know how many cocktails she had or they had, but they disclosed some details about some past experiences that their husband unfortunately had to endure. A company event, I mean, ladies, we've got to have some discretion with the things that we share with other people. So I think you get the gist of that. What goes along with that is details of your relationship. If you have not heard this before, please hear and understand it now. You've got to keep other people out of your relationship. Also, there's just certain things that we really do need to keep to ourselves. You don't want to have your partner go around those people that you've told about your problems or intimate details of your relationship. Well, they go around these people and you don't know how those people are looking at them. They might be looking at them kind of situation like that. So avoid creating that environment for them and don't embarrass them. And then the last thing, and this was one of the things that really prompted me to want to do this video, is sharing details about your past relationships. Ladies, I hear about this at least twice a month from men who have found out that their current girlfriend or whomever it is that they're seeing has done something for somebody in a past relationship, and they are upset because she hasn't done that for them. Ladies, if you are single or dating someone, consider yourself silently Mirandized at the beginning, because what you say and do not only can, but it most definitely will be used against you. And it's wild. I think this is one of those things that we will have to chalk up to men and women just thinking about things differently. My mom used to tell me, just because someone asks you a question doesn't mean that you have to answer it. So yeah, men are going to ask you some information about your previous relationship, but just because they ask doesn't mean you need to provide the information to them, because again, they are arming themselves with that information, and regardless of what they say, they are going to judge you based on what you tell them about your previous relationship. So if they ask you, I am not saying lie, because that's another thing that I've heard amongst some groups of women. They have recommended lying, and I will tell you this right now: absolutely do not lie. you can simply not answer the question. A good thing to say is, oh, that's a really interesting question, and I'll be happy to share that with you, but right now I don't think it's the right time. We're still getting to know each other, and I like to take my time and get to know someone, so when the time is right, I'll be more than happy to share that information with you, and leave it at that. There is a time that's appropriate for you to share certain details about your previous relationships, but that time is not within the first few days, weeks, or even months. I mean, ladies, this goes into part of the discretion that a classy and elegant woman has, and she knows how to navigate these situations. So for now, I need to wrap it up because this is already too long. Always stay classy and elegant, my darlings, and have a great day.